Hello everybody. Hello everybody. This again is our YouTube recording for this day's lesson. Research problem and its scope. Okay. So we had some technical problems this morning because the internet suddenly timed out. So I tried to make a recording, but this will be quick. Yeah, because this is part 1 of part 2, which will be discussed in next week. So last meeting we talked about the nature and characteristics of research. What makes a research good? What is research? And what are the different types of experimental research? So just to start with this week's new module, we'll have a quick review of last week's topics. So look at this example. Is this life science or physical science? Bioremediation, bioenergy, and stress biology. Well, this looks like a journal collection. And what should be the answer? It's both. Yeah, because this time we're mixing about the power of microorganisms and plants to fix environmental problems such as high toxicity levels in soil, and that is in a study called bioremediation. And also with bioenergy and stress biology, those are different mixtures of the two disciplines. So this will be both types. How about this? By the way, it's a little noisy here. I'm in school. Gravity entanglement. So this is a theoretical physics kind of research. This is physical science. Yep. How about process optimization for extraction of phytochemical from Ficus racemosa, phytochemical extraction? In this kind of research, they want to establish a process of extraction of phytochemicals from this this must be a plant. Yes. So actually this could be like into a life science research, but if you think about it, the type of research we'd like to explore on the process of extracting the phytochemical. This is more of the procedure and more on the chemicals of the plant itself. So this is more on the physical science research side. Okay, let's now go to the next part of the review, the 3 main types of experimental research. You still remember about those 3? Okay, so let's enumerate. The 3 types are the pre-experimental, the true experimental, and the quasi-experimental. Quasi-experimental. So what distinguishes the 3 have differences. 1, it would be the randomization process. Sometimes there are types of research wherein randomization is not done. So that would go under pre-experimental and quasi-experimental. For the pre-experimental, there is a lack of the control group. And also, for true experimental, they really would like to establish the relationship between the independent variable to the dependent variable. So as much as possible, they give control groups, experimental groups, the pre-test and the post-test. And as for the quasi, this usually goes with behavioral and psychological types of research, especially when we deal with variables that such as personality and other biases, which cannot be changed or we cannot control. Okay, but all of these 3 are also valid. Depends on the purpose of your research. Objectives. For this week's lesson, it will be to identify ways on choosing and developing research problems, and then describe research problems, research questions, and research objectives. So these are 3 main words. Okay. When we talk about research, Again, this is where science meets research. And in our class, since we really emphasize this, mix this two words colliding, science and research, there is this method that we will never forget, and this is the scientific method. What is the scientific method again? It's this. It involves the performance of a methodical study in order to prove or disprove a hypothesis or answer a specific question. So this is not really a linear, but sometimes iterative, or you can go back to one step backward and move forward. Yes, but there is this sequence, systematic sequence, that scientists follow so then they can prove their questions and hypotheses. So they want to answer what, how, and why. But what is the very first part? It starts with asking a question or making an observation. Okay, so in the scientific method, the first step is identifying the problem. So you observe, you ask questions, you use your senses. Okay, so as we dive into starting the research project, we choose and develop our research problem. It starts with the general subject. So the general subject area must first be defined. Okay, so it must be within your interest. Which are you more inclined to? You would like to do life science research or physical science research? It's up to you. Depends on your interest and also your knowledge about that area. After you have chosen that specific area, the general subject area, you go down to a specific topic. So you define your specific topic and then you evaluate the possibilities according to the interest and importance, according to how much you like to do it, or what is the significance of doing such a project, the manageability and the availability of resources, of course. So yes, we have limitations and we have to do with what's around us. So if there's no equipment, or we can't get such a strain of bacteria, or if we can't go outside for now or do lab experiments, we have to deal with it. Okay, so we have to choose the problem that is manageable at the context. And next, of course, it's significant, manageable, available, and suitable. The big thing about all these characteristics of research, it's logical, analytical, empirical, methodical, critical, logical. There is this unmentioned but important characteristic. It must be significant. Okay, it must be useful. It must have a contribution to the society. And that is the noble thing with doing research. Okay, there are two main ways to identify a research topic. So sometimes we don't know where to start. We want to do a lot of things. We're interested in many things. But to get ourselves started, to cut the paralysis of analysis, let's start with a few options. So one, from unfavorable conditions. Two, from related studies. Okay, unfavorable conditions, conditions that are not favorable, things that don't go as we want them to, that is not helpful to us, or something that is not useful to us or problematic in such a way. So number one, from unfavorable conditions, you look for the gaps that needs to be filled, problems left unaddressed, ideas that have not been verified, or areas that have not been studied well, have not much data about. Okay, so to ideate for that, to get the idea, you look for an idea in the community and see what you can do. Okay, so let's have this at the beginning. Okay, this is a picture of our Gao, right? The church is one of the landmarks in our place. What other things can you think about our place, our Gao? Okay, so you can list them down there in the comments. What keywords can you think about when you think of our Gao? What are those? Foods, the culture, the places. Okay, so to get started with looking for unfavorable conditions, you look at the place where you are, your community, and see what you can do. Are there pollution problems? Usually, for us in the sciences, it's the pollution problems. Okay, so this is an example here from a research paper I took from the module, and it wants to address on pollution. So there are many types of pollution: soil, air, water, solid waste, and plastics. So they focused on water pollution, and they want to get this mixture, a dye, which has microorganisms and activated carbon. Activated carbon is a special kind of substance. Activated carbon, this is also called activated charcoal, so a form of carbon that is processed to have small pores that increase surface area, so it kinds of filters and adsorbs. Add means it's not absorbing there, but it stays on the surface because of some chemical reactions, and then it somehow filters the water. So they want to test of how effective is this dye having activated carbon. So yes, this is what you call a bioremediation study. When we say bioremediation, the second paragraph, it's the process of cleaning up environmental sites contaminated with chemical pollutants by using living organisms or materials from living organisms to degrade hazardous materials into less toxic substances. So they must have tested the quality of water first in that area, if how polluted or how toxic are the levels of some ions that they're observing. Okay, so in biodegradation research, also it's using living organisms such as bacteria, fungi, and plants to degrade chemical compounds. So some of these chemical compounds are toxic to the living organisms such as fishes in the river. So basin they can do those kinds of research na ma-lower ang mga harmful chemical compounds. So that's bioremediation study. You can do that. Okay. Also, next example, looking for natural resources to solve the problem. This one is a picture again I took from your module. It's not as clear, but I bet there must be color in the original, but there wasn't. Okay, so Alugbati used crude extracts, and this one is to study on its antibacterial activity against a strain of bacteria which is the S. enteritidis. Though we really cannot do these kinds of research here at school because it needs biosafety cabinet and controlled environments, well-regulated labs for us to be able to do this, and some experts also to supervise this. But that aside, this is a little simple if you can do it. Okay, so a little. So when we say the alugbati, it gets the crude extracts. When we say crude extracts, kanang gi macerate or kanang gi squeeze, or maybe ituk ra yung juice niya, kung ano yung juice, in some kind of process. Okay, you can search up maceration also, and then maybe wala lang siya gi-soak og water or alcohol, just the pure extract lang yun sa alugbati. Okay, so again, number one, look at the community and look for unfavorable conditions. So some problems that you can solve. Okay, and looking into natural resources to solve that problem. Okay, number two, from related resources. Okay, related resources. This is very timely right now because we really can go out and meet with others or do things in the lab. We can actually look at sources that are made by other researchers that are put out in the scientific community. So we read from published research papers and choose a similar topic to begin with. Okay, so we get an inspiration from them as we read their papers, so we can access them through the internet or through libraries. Before, when the internet was not as daily thing, just like now. Before, some of our parents who are able to do research, maybe research activities, they really would tell na before we would really have to go to libraries, go to public libraries to look for the books that we can source out. So right now it's just a search away. So i-search lang mo if you know how to search. Okay, but as we get also our inspiration, remember, no duplicates in town. So no to duplication. What is the use of doing it again? Okay, what is the significance of that? What can you contribute? So contribute more papers to print. Yeah. Okay, so bitaw, you can get an inspiration, pero of course try to do something new. Okay, where to go? There are a wide range of areas where you can go which have this verified researches that have been reviewed by the people in the same discipline. Okay, peer reviewed. We have Elsevier, Science Direct. The Elsevier is the main website, and then Science Direct is mostly for sciences. Okay, but Elsevier, the account you use in Elsevier is also used in Science Direct. So I tried this before and just had one account for both. So I realized, one company na day sila. Next, Google Scholar, everybody's friend. Google Scholar. Nakatry na mo Google Scholar, no? Okay, so the main tagline there is "Stand on the shoulders of giants." Okay, this is, I believe this is a Newton quote somewhere, or Aristotle, or there is a famous scientist who said this, and he was able to accomplish what he had because he stood on the shoulders of giants. So us also, if we do research, of course, all these theories and ideas that we are holding on right now are the product of the studies of many years before us. So we are like standing on the shoulder of giants right now because we see the world at a much higher and clearer way because of the concepts that they discovered for us. Of the concepts such as the laws of motion, di na nata matingalang anong curve ang ball kung ilabay nimo. Okay, so a better understanding of the world because we stood on their knowledge. So munang stand on the shoulder of giants, just like research. So pohon mahimo na sad mong giants. So nasa next generation na mo gamit sa inyong knowledge and stand on your shoulders per se. Okay, so this is what a page from Google Scholar looks like. Is it a little blurry? But anyway, yeah, I tried to search bioremediation of heavy metals here on the search bar, and then Google Scholar pretty much gives you the full PDF, and where to find that? It's here. Okay, so you can try to click the titles here and it'll take you to the website, but to get a shortcut you can go directly to this one. This is the PDF version, the full version. So if they can find you a PDF version, it gives you a suggestion link over here. But also if there isn't, then look for other websites. Okay, and you can have those sorting here. You have since 2020, since 2019, 2016. You can get the range of your search results. Okay, and then you can use this citation tool, which is that symbol here. Okay, this one you can click that and it'll give you citations that you can copy and paste in your references. Okay, always remember to cite. So whenever you take ideas from research papers, you try to get a separate file where you compile all your resources and take note to diri ko nagkuha ato. Always cite. Okay, where else to go? This International Journal of Science and Research. Journals are it's like a collection of research papers on a specific discipline. This one is Journal of Science and Research. There are also journals for mathematics, for physics only, for engineering, for astronomy, for natural science, na siya mga inana. So this one for science and research. Then you can search in here. Some have open access, some are paid. If it's paid, then you have to look for other ways. Somehow na somewhere in the internet. Okay, where else? This, my favorite, Mandalay. So I learned this website. This is a search engine that comes with an app that you can install. Na mahimo nimo plug in sa Microsoft Word, and then it will help you generate the what's that? The references section. So it's very useful. And then it also comes with a Chrome extension that will help you see mga suggestions of specific researches nga related sa current research na imong gibasa. So when we do related literature study, I will try to teach you how to use Mandalay. Okay, this is a good one. And then now let's go to the three keywords: research problem, research objectives, and research questions. Research problem. So when we say research problem, this is the statement about the specific issue of an unfavorable condition that will be given attention to the study. So what is this specific? Dapat specific because you would have to explain yourself a lot kung wide would gayo imong range. So you get as specific as you can. Okay, so para clear ang aim sa imong research, dapat clear po ang issue na gusto nimo i-address. Okay, you state your specific issue about the problem that you want to solve, and that will be now the focus of your study. And then it includes the attempt on how to solve or help solve the existing problem. Okay, so imong dayon ning isugdan na because you want to try to solve this problem, you are studying this research problem. Next, research question. Research question is that specific question that leads to collecting necessary data intended to affirm or negate a hypothesis or an assumption. Also referred sometimes as the research problem written in interrogative form that is needed to be answered using the data collected from observations and experiments. So this will be in the form of questions. Okay, so you can have questions that will help you identify on what things should you be doing in your data gathering. So if you have good questions, then you will have a good direction on unsay buhaton nimo. If bagay eksakto ang imong kuna kay mga questions kay muna sa ni imong mahimong objectives. So kay balo na ka unsay tan-aw nimo ining data gathering, unsa jud imong target. If you do not make these questions well written, malibog sa kag-apil. Okay, how? So you must be able to point out you properly address ang independent or dependent variables involved. Okay, so I will show you an example.